some of your earliest reflections of West Point?
Well, as I got to West Point within a month after I was ordained a priest. It was supposed to be for 2 months because it was the start of the expansion in 1965. But it went so well, there's a long story there, that I lasted almost 5 years.
Wow.
It was a very important time of my life because I've always told seminarians, and I've been director of 2 seminaries for 12 years, that the first 5 years out of the seminary are as important as the 5 years you spent in the seminary. So my formation continued. My formation as a priest was very much influenced by what I saw and experienced at West Point. The discipline, the dedication, the enthusiasm, the sense of self-sacrifice, all had a great effect on me. It solidified what I knew I should be as a priest, and I will never regret a day that I spent there.
You were there at a time in the 60s, late 60s, when the nation had a conflict with Vietnam.
Yeah.
Certainly there were protests. How did you manage the spiritual development of cadets to be future leaders in the Army during that difficult time in history?
Well, I'm convinced that the call to serve the country is a vocation once it's accepted. I don't think people in uniform have anything to be defensive about or apologetic for, and in those days there was that temptation because people didn't like the military. And I've always said it's a call, a highly Christian call. Christ said, greater love no one has than to give his life for his friends. And we have kids overseas today giving their lives to total strangers. Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. What are you doing except for peace? When you put on the uniform, you enter the service. And Christ defined himself as one who came to serve, not be served. So when lived to its fullest and noblest, the military life is a military vocation, is a call from God. And I have had many opportunities to repeat that to young soldiers who are 18 and 19 and think that there's some conflict between serving the country and their Christian faith. Not true at all.
Wow.
I always compare it. We know that the parable of the Good Samaritan. A certain man goes from Jerusalem to Jericho, and on the way he's attacked by bandits and he's left half dead. 3 people passed by. The first 2 were very busy. They were high-ranking in the faith of the day. They just passed by. The third was one who really had nothing to do with Jews. He was a Samaritan. But he stopped and he bandaged the wounds and put them in an inn and so forth. My question is, what would have happened a half hour before when that Good Samaritan came by and this man was being attacked? Did he have a right to step back and say, I'll wait about 10 minutes when this attack is over? Or did he have a duty, an obligation, to step in and do what had to be done to put an end to that aggression? That's what our military is for, and that's what our military has done consistently throughout our history, and we should be proud of that.
Moving on to a little bit different topic, I understand you went to airborne school.
I did.
Did you volunteer for it? How did you, what were your thoughts going?
Well, in 1969, I asked the new Cardinal Cook, if I could enter the military as a chaplain. And I said, I have assurances from the chief of chaplains that if I did enter, he would answer my request to go airborne and to go to Vietnam. And the Cardinal Cook released me, and it was on my own request. I was the oldest one, and I don't know how many were doing jump school, but I was the grandfather of the whole lot. And got a hard time from the black hats, they call it.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was fun. Not always fun going through it, but looking back on it, it had a tremendous effect on me as well. The whole 3 active years in the Army did, especially the one in Vietnam.
Wonderful. And when you deployed to Vietnam, I believe it was with the 82nd Airborne?
No, I was with the 173rd Airborne.
Okay.
And when they stood down, I spent the final few months with the 1st Cav.
And then I guess a generation later, you came back to be the Archbishop of the Military Services.
That's right.
For a decade.
Totally unexpected.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. I was here in Rome for 5 years as head of the seminary here. And I was in New York for 7 years as head of the seminary. I was made a bishop auxiliary to Cardinal O'Brien my last year in the seminary work. And I thought I'd stay in New York. And he called me one day and said, you've only been a bishop for a year, and now you're an archbishop. I didn't know what he was saying. He said, the Holy Father's going to ask you to be the archbishop for the military. Archbishop Jamila was my predecessor, another New Yorker, and he was failing in health, and it was a great move. I had a wonderful time. I liked travel. I liked the work, and certainly liked the people I was working with.
And you do, well, we went to, I assume, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Didn't make it into Afghanistan. Very hard. I was in Iraq twice. I tried to go every year. But I realized that if I went, there are well over 100 other endorsing agencies, and the head of those agencies would feel they had to have the same opportunity, even though we were by far the largest. But I was to Iraq twice and couldn't get over there any longer.
I think one of the great questions that the audience for the West Point Society of Philadelphia would like to know is that what you learned and experienced at West Point, its timeless values of duty, honor, country, how has that prepared you for your current responsibilities to participate in electing the next Pope?
Oh, I think the whole military experience solidified the sense of commitment and responsibility, and this is a high responsibility I have, and going into the conclave I realized that, and I never thought I'd be in this position. Before the conclave we have any number of conferences, the state of the church, just to orientate all the voting cardinals. I just think Providence had me do these years at West Point and in the military to set a foundation for what was to come next. And this, working with Christians in the Holy Land, encouraging them in the difficulties they face, has been a result, I think, of my past experiences with the military. So we'll see. It's hard to make concrete what is a very spiritual experience as a priest, as a chaplain, as an archbishop, and now as a cardinal. There's no planning these things. God moves you around. You just say yes. You be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That's what you're trying to be.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to present you with something from the Society. We have on our board of directors many that have known you and said some just incredible things about your service and your what you've done for West Point, for the military, for our nation. I know that Bill Deal, our vice president, has said so many things about you. Hap Trainer is another one that says so many great things, and Jim Molesky is another one that is working with your Monsignor for the schedule at the time. But on behalf of the rest of the West Point Society clientele and members, I wanted to make you an official honorary life member of our society. With all of the,
thank you very much. There you go.